Hello, everybody. Welcome to another AMI webinar. My name is Jeff Johnson. I'm an associate product manager with AMI, and I'm going to be going over the new Jukebox setup workflow. This is going to be primarily a Copilot feature, but also requires a Jukebox software update to get it to work. We're still waiting for some people to filter in here, but while they do, I'm going to ask everybody to look at the bottom of your screen and find that Q&A option. If I'm going over something and you have a question, feel free to post in there and I'll address it probably at the end. I might look at them as we're going along through this workflow. So we are up to about 95 people. I guess I'll get started here. What we were looking to do with this feature is hopefully reduce your calls to tech support as you're going through and setting up a new jukebox, eliminate trigger codes, which is a huge thing, and offer a better solution for setting up configurations for your jukebox. I'm going to share my screen here and we can get started. All right. What I'm planning on going over today is assigning a new jukebox to a new or existing venue, swapping a hard drive, setting up a jukebox with no internet, and assigning a jukebox from a shop to a venue. The people who can use this feature are only operator executives, assistants, and service technicians. No venue users, which is no venue managers or venue staff, are going to be able to do this. The first and biggest change that you're going to see as you're going through this process is this. When you start up a jukebox using this new software, you're going to see this QR code come up. What you're going to do is you're going to scan this and it's going to pop up Copilot for you. If you don't have Copilot installed, it will bring you to the installation page instead. If you're unable to use this for any reason, there is still an option to use the old trigger code, but we do recommend that you switch over to Copilot. So this is what the workflow is going to start like for you. You're going to scan it. It's going to bring you to Copilot where you're going to log in. And then this is what you're going to see. If you get to this page, this means that this jukebox has already been assigned to your company now. And this is now triggered. You do not need to enter a trigger code. It's been done for you. So if this jukebox was previously assigned to an internal AMI company or distributor company, it's already going to switch to your company for you. You don't need to call. You don't need to have anything done. It's just done for you. Our first step in this process is going to be the venue confirmation. This is going to go through the venue assignment for you. You can go through and, again, this workflow is the concept of a brand new jukebox. So we're going to be able to replace a jukebox that already exists to a venue, create a new venue from scratch, or create a new venue at the same physical location. First, it's going to ask you if it's on site, meaning is it actually at the physical location? So we're going to say it's on site. Next, it's going to ask if you are with the jukebox, meaning you're standing in front of it. This is going to prompt you to share your location. This is only used to return the list of your nearest venues. So I'm going to say I'm at the same location and while using the app. So this is the list of venues nearest to you. Again, your option here is we can select an existing venue. So something like, Highland Haven or Gin Tavern, Paddock Pub. Where if you select one of these, it's going to ask if you want to replace it or add another venue to that same physical location. Or you can go through and create a new venue. Type in the address. It's going to find that. You're going to enter the name of the venue, and then it's already assigned. That's done. The configuration confirmation. This is going to let you select a configuration for your jukebox in a little bit different way than you're used to. This is going to include all of your lockouts, schedules, local music, other things like all of your volume settings, your remote settings, everything like that will be copied over. As part of this change, we are assigning all of your settings to a venue rather than the jukebox itself. And so when you go through, we're going to be able to select a venue that we can copy our configurations from. So for this, it recognized that we selected the Paddock Pub, which we just created. Those are going to all be default values. So we can change those settings. By going in here, we can select, we know that Highland Haven has similar or the same exact configurations that we want. We can select that. And then it's going to ask to confirm, and that's done. All of those configurations in the background will be copied over. And then when we hit complete, our setup is complete. At this point in the background, the jukebox is going to start downloading all of those settings, downloading the local music, getting everything set up for you. The next thing I want to go over is what a hard drive swap looks like. This is something that happens fairly common. And so we wanted to make sure that we make this as simple as possible. Again, if I click here, if I scan the code, log in, and get here, that hard drive is now triggered. You don't need to enter anything in. Since that core previously belonged to a venue, it's going to ask if you want to keep those settings or keep that venue or change it to a new venue. For this, we're just going to say keep venue. Same thing with our configurations. We can either keep those settings that are there or we can select them from a different venue. Let's just say keep settings. Once we hit complete, it is done. It's, again, automatically going to get that hard drive all set up for you. The last one that we're going to go through is a setup that if your jukebox doesn't have internet for some reason, we can still go through this process and get it all set up in the background. And once that jukebox connects, it's going to start downloading and changing all those values for you. So again, hard drive swap, venue. We want to keep that venue. We want to keep those configurations. When we hit done, it's going to give you this screen right here, which is going to have a code on it. This code will be used on this screen right here. So if you hit status in that bottom corner, you're going to be brought to this screen where you can enter the code right here. And when you hit submit, it's going to release that QR code off of your screen and let you use the jukebox normally. Once you get internet connection, it's going to start downloading. It's going to confirm that the QR code is no longer on your screen and you're done. Again, I want everybody to take a second. If you have any questions, use that Q&A option. The last thing I wanted to go over is the new Move Shop Jukeboxes workflow that's part of this as well. This is for any jukebox you currently have assigned to any shop locations that you have. If even with a new jukebox, one of the options that you're going to be able to do is to assign it automatically to your shop, and then those jukeboxes will appear here. So if we have a list of jukeboxes that you've been setting up in the shop, just getting them ready, and now you're ready to put them in the venue, you can bring them to the venue, open this up, and we'll be able to select one of them from this list. Again, it's going to go through a similar workflow. So you selected the jukebox. I'm at the same location. And now we're going to assign it to this location here. If we do that, it's just going to assign it and you're done. If I were to go to something like Gin Tavern, it's again going to give you the option to replace it or add another where you can select the venue that you would like to call it now, or you can just replace it and it'll be replaced. If you see this screen right here, this means that the jukebox you had in your shop, all of the configuration settings on it don't match the one at the venue you're assigning it to. This is now going to give you the option of which set of settings you want to keep. So if we wanted to keep the ones at the shop because you did something specific for that, we can just say that and it's done. You'll be brought back here and you can keep going with other jukeboxes as needed or go about your day. I'm going to pull over some questions here and we can start going through those. What about swapping a bad core? We can't do anything about a bad core because we can't recognize when a core has been swapped. For that workflow, you're still going to have to call and have the serial number switched over to the new core and everything like that. Will it keep your accounts? If you could expand on that a little bit, I would appreciate that. As I wait for more questions to come in, I can switch. Something else I wanted to mention is at the end of this, we are going to be having a little questionnaire. If you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes of filling that out, that will really help out. All right, let's see here. Yes, you should still be getting trigger codes for a while. I believe they should still be shipped with those for quite a while. That way, in case you're not able to use Copilot for any reason, you can continue to use the old method. But this is just what we're hoping everybody will pick up and become the new thing. Collection info will not be transferred as part of this, unfortunately. You're still going to have to keep track of that on your own.
Hey, but Jeff, to add to that, collection info is something that we would make a part of this flow in the future.
Yes.
Yep.
As far as this initial release, we are not able to do that. When is the version of this coming out? We don't have an exact date for that, but that is a good question. We're still in QA with this, but we're hoping to get some beta participants for this. If you are interested in doing the beta, please reach out to your RSM and we might be reaching out to you to use this for us and let us know what you think. Yes, when swapping out a hard drive, does it automatically clone the music from the previous drive? Yes, all of that is now going to be stored server side, all of that information. So when you put in the new hard drive, it will just automatically grab all of that local music and start downloading it.
Jeff, there is a question about what user level has these new options.
Yep, and I can go back to that if needed. But yeah, this is going to be an operator exec, assistant, and service technician. Venue users cannot use this. So venue managers and venue staff cannot use this functionality.
Anthony Mesa is asking about how about essential albums from the previous settings? Does that need to be called in?
No, it should not. Again, this will be part of that configuration copying. All of that will be copied over because, again, it's stored per venue now rather than local to the jukebox. And so all of that will automatically get copied over.
Jeff is saying, are you having a YouTube tutorial on this so we have something to look back on and review if needed?
This video right here will be posted onto YouTube, so you'll be able to watch this again. If you have more questions, you can reach out to us and ask us.
I would also encourage everybody to we keep posting videos on YouTube. It's a very handy solution to just open your phone and refer to these videos. So subscribe to it, and you can also tap on the bell icon so that you're notified when we upload some of these videos that are good for your business.
Sorry, I'm reading another question here on the setting transfer side. Do we have access to all settings remotely volume? No, you won't be able to set those individually in the app. You'll just be able to copy them from different venues, if that's what you're asking. David Lee was asking about separate companies. You would need a separate login for each company. This is something that's actually been brought to our attention as well. For now, we're not going to have a solution for that. We are thinking about how to address this, though. YouTube channel name, if you search, I believe it's at AMI Operators. You should be able to find that YouTube channel.
Yeah.
One other thing I actually forgot to mention that I also wanted to make sure I address. This QR code is also going to be available in service mode. So anytime you wanted to use this to move a jukebox to a different venue or move it to your shop, you'll be able to access that in service mode as well.
In the event you replace a jukebox with a newer model, what happens to the old jukebox? Does it go to the shop automatically?
Yes, well, that'll be an option. If you choose to replace a jukebox as part of this workflow, yes, it will automatically be assigned to your shop. If you do not have a shop location created, as you go through this process, it will create a shop for you as well.
When setting up venue managers and venue staff, will this also accomplish getting bonus credits for the venue manager and staff on the AMI Music app? This is a question by Jerry Waldeck. The answer is no, this is not related to the staff rewards program we have, but watch out for your emails. We are going to have a webinar on staff rewards and some of the benefits it gives to operators in a future session. So Jerry, watch for your email and we'll have that session pretty soon.
Sorry, just reading through some other ones I might have missed here. They're appearing out of order for me, so.
I like this. There are a lot of questions coming in.
Yeah, there are. And
23 questions.
I'm
Some of
trying
them
to,
are repeats. So if you're not answering your question, you probably need to watch the video again.
somewhat off topic. In the future, will there be an option to be able to adjust the equalizer from Copilot? There's a lot of things that we'd like to address in the future. That is on the list of things we are looking at, but that's all about time to get around to them. So you won't be able to set schedules or any of these other than what's already in Copilot. You won't be able to change any of these configuration settings. You'll just be able to copy them from different venues to a new venue or jukebox. A lot of questions coming in.
What is the release of this new version? Jeff, it might be worth repeating the release plan.
Yep. This will be in Copilot 2.9, and I believe it's Jukebox 11.8. Again, we don't have an exact date set up for this release, but we would like to know if you're interested in doing a beta. So please contact your RSM, or even if you wanted to, you could probably put your company name and interest right here in the Q&A. We'll be able to pull that for later.
And to get all of this running, you need to have not only the new Copilot, you need to have a hard drive that is on 11.8, a jukebox that's on the latest version, as well as the Copilot. So 3 things need to happen. If you join the beta, we can guide you through that. And when we're ready to launch it to the whole field, we'll give you instructions on when this is triggered. Nothing. Meanwhile, your old method will still work. We're taking nothing away from the older way of setting up a jukebox, but this one's gonna just make it a lot faster and easier to move settings and configurations around.
Looks like we already have some interested parties for the beta here, so that's good. All right, just scrolling through to see if See if I missed anything.
So Jeff, I think we are ready to put the questionnaire up.
Yeah, I think so. I wanted to address one more thing from Jeff here. They own two different companies. You will not be able to do a company-to-company swap through this process. It will stop you and ask you to call tech support. So yeah, no, unfortunately, you cannot do an operator company to operators company swap. If it's coming from a distributor or an AMI internal company, it will automatically assign it, but no, not in that way. Sorry, one more thing. Have the opportunity or have the ability to change background music schedules. You should already be able to do that through Copilot under the operator tab. You can change that schedule right now. So, all right. Yeah, I think we're getting close to wrapping up here. Although I still see plenty of questions coming in and interest here, but yeah. Is there anything else you think we should address right now, Kapil, or should we go to that questionnaire?
One says one relevant question is so we are getting a lot of questions about Copilot that are not related to this jukebox setup process. We are going to have more topics coming in. If you have topics that you are interested in, when we put up the polls shortly, do give us your suggestions, and we'll talk to you about those in a future webinar. Among the relevant questions, I got one more. When replacing hard drives, will audits be transferred from the bad drive? It is a problem with route collectors. So, Jeff, you want to answer that?
Yeah. No, I don't think. Yeah, none of that will be transferred. This is basically just a configuration transfer, so any collections or anything like that will not be copied over as part of this.
It's also the nature of the bad drive means that we are only going to be syncing whatever's available on the server.
Right. And then one more question about the standard profiles. There isn't a profile that you can store since you're copying from a different venue. If you created a venue that in general has the profile you would like to copy, you can continue to use that one over and over again. But this isn't something that you can save a profile and then use, unfortunately. But in most cases, you should be able to copy from a venue that is the same or similar to what you're looking for. Alrighty, I think we're getting to the end here. Again,
I see a couple of people raise hands. I'm gonna allow you to talk. Bud, can you speak?
it looks like you gave them the ability to speak, but they are still on mute, so they'll have to unmute themselves.
Let's try Ron.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, now as far as jukeboxes go, will this do the NGXs all the way back to the Nighthawks and stuff like that if it has the N75 core? I think it's the version of it.
Yes, this is not just restricted to specific jukeboxes. If you have Win 10, we should be able to support any jukebox that has Win 10 11.8.
Okay. And they'll eventually push all the new stuff through to get us current to where all of our Windows 10s are, if they're, fresh from like when you guys started putting Windows 10 out to whenever this is going to be released, everything will be up to date, so we won't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. And again, I think something to mention here too is that I think Kapil already mentioned this as well, but any hard drives you have on your shelves are going to be not able to work with this because they won't be updated. But as this rolls out, this will be more and more available to you.
Okay, good. So current versions will be done. Perfect.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Bud, are you able to speak? Cool. Let's move on to the polls then.
Alrighty. Yeah, thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate it. So again, reach out to your RSMs with any questions or anything. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
And just an FYI on the polls, when I press end, it'll pull up in your browser. So you won't see it in the screen. So I'll end the webinar and then it'll pull up. Okay. Thanks.
Perfect. All right. Thanks everybody.